Slow down, slow down.
Hold on. Honestly, it looks like I'm drawing fast, but it's just scribbles. So I'm doing a gesture drawing and sort of building up, kind of like you would if you work in clay. Remember that really romantic scene from Ghost? Where that's exactly what it's like when I'm drawing. I feel like no. So I'm basically moving these lines around. These lines sort of are construction lines, but they're also this clay that I'm kind of putting together, and so you can do that pretty quickly. But then when you want to do your real drawing, you got to slow down and then pick your shapes.
A number of artists over the years, it seemed almost like the more famous they got, the slower they became, and maybe it's just a result of the more pressures of doing a monthly book or whatever, they're being pulled in so many directions at once. You never slowed down like that. I mean, of all your contemporaries, I mean, you were always on time. I'm just curious.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah.
It wasn't like 3 or 4 months between books.
Sometimes or longer, yeah. No, actually, it's I can actually draw pretty fast. It's just a matter of finding the time to draw it, and it's not even just drawing once every 2 or 3 days. You get into real rhythm if you draw every day, and you get faster and better at it. So usually at the start of a deadline, I can barely manage a page a day, but if I've been drawing day in, day out, by the end I've done up to 5, I think, in one night, all night long, but usually like 2 by the end, because you're just getting the full rhythm of being able to draw.
It's like a muscle when
exactly. So when you only draw like once every week or something, then that's when it's really bad, because not only are you out of shape physically to do it, but also your ability to see your mistakes is kind of out the window. It makes it a lot harder. I'm putting some detail here so you guys know.
Do you prefer to do covers rather than doing a whole comic?
No, you know what? I as much as I love doing cover work, I got in business really to tell stories, and so I actually prefer just illustrating the inside. I've done cover work just because people ask me to. I'm helping out a friend or an editor, but my preference would be just to do interiors. Okay, so that's a lot of the underdrawing. Let's go in here with a micron, the waterproof archival ink pen.
What size?
This is a 0.3, and they run all the way from 0.005, which I never use, but I carry around, and to a 0.8. I don't have one. Anyway.
I got one.
Okay. Don't brag. Anyway, so yeah, here you go. I got one right here. There's that sticker right there. Yeah. So I'm gonna start with the 0.3 and see how it goes. I usually start here with the eyes, because the eyes really are kind of the windows to the soul, and you can really really capture the expression of the face of the drawing through just the eyes, and everything kind of follows after that. And the easiest to draw actually is this 3/4 shot, where things are slightly in perspective, where the eye is closer to this side of the face than this side, because not everything has to be symmetrical. In fact, every element is different. So this eye has a completely different shape from that eye. This eyebrow is a different line and shape from this eyebrow, etc., etc. It's much harder actually drawing a face from a center view where everything has to line up. In fact, it just plugs up.
When you're creating something, do you visualize it first in your head, or do you start just putting pencil to paper and see where it goes?
I can usually visualize it in my head. So, if there's a whole scene from a story or whatever, I pretty much see it, and in essence, you're trying to capture it on paper. And I wouldn't say that I can project it from my mind onto the paper, but there's a lot of acting going on in your head, and a lot of times as I'm drawing scenes, I'm snarling, if I'm drawing Wolverine or something, or if I'm Catwoman, I'm pursing my lips. You kind of get into it. You're acting. It's not stupid. And then you make sound effects. You go, lot of like nonsense going on. So
What about like photo reference?
good training for being a homeless man down there.
Do you do like photo references or anything like that? Or?
I used to, you know, I have a mirror or whatever, but and then I had a camera on my laptop, and then you can kind of pose for yourself.
Like the wooden figures that you find in
No, I never really. I think those are really good if you want to draw wooden figures. But I never found them useful. Like it's like you extrapolate. Like okay, like here's an arm. Okay, now how do I draw? Yeah. So if you want to draw that, it's pretty good for the figure. But this point 3 is slow.
Were you a good artist as a child? I mean, what you consider to be good for your age as a child?
Oh, awesome.
And at what point did your own child start to come out?
I would bully kids on the school ground. Can you draw the circle? Good. No, I was a little better than, you know, so I did a lot of like the school play posters and things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I was on a, on a physical level, I don't know if it was talent, but I probably had more confidence in drawing than a lot of kids. You know, a lot of kids, they can psych themselves out.
At what point did your own child come out of, you know?
Probably a couple years after I got in business.
Really?
Yeah, I think when you start out, you're just so into certain artists, and you learn through imitation or observation. And then I reached a certain point where I just realized, well, I'm never going to have my own style unless I stop looking at these guys I really admire. So I put away all these comics and just kept drawing, even though I knew I was making mistakes or things that didn't look quite right. And then out of all that repetition evolved this kind of style with shorthand.